Hey y'all, this is Moni.
And this is Kat.
AKA. And this is the Fake Ass Book Club. Wait, can we both say it or no?
All right, you guys, welcome back. It's your girl Moni.
And this is Kat.
What's up, Kat?
Oh, I'm just dripping in all this finesse.
I see that.
Thank you.
Friends.
I'm feeling really good. I feel like I'm getting over my seasonal depression, and I feel good about a lot of things.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, friends.
And I think my concussion's all cleared up.
Yeah. I feel like the bruise is gone.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So it feels good to I'm like, ooh, normal's so good. How
know.
are you?
I'm doing pretty good. It was a busy weekend. I had like a field trip, like an actual jaunt. Like I was in Ferdinand, Indiana, which is it's almost 3 hours away from here. Like I was almost in Kentucky.
I was about to say that's about as far as you can go while still being in Indiana.
Exactly. So that was kind of fun. It was just nice not to be at work. It was nice to make some memories with my daughter, have some fun, like be around her and her school friends and some of the cool parents. So it was good. I have to say
that's fantastic. I'm glad you had you got a good positive parenting experience, because what we're talking about today is so negative.
Oh my God, it's so negative, you guys. We do have a spoilerish episode.
Oh, I'm spoiling.
Yeah, of Adolescence. It's a Netflix show. I feel like there's been a lot of talk about this show, which was why I was extremely interested in talking about it.
I think it's the #1 trending show on Netflix right now.
I'm not surprised. Definitely not surprised. And because I was on that field trip Thursday and Friday, I didn't really get a chance to finish watching it. So I watched the first episode, tried to finish watching the second episode during the Patreon. But we're still going to talk about it. So I want to give you guys a little bit of a synopsis about the show. So Adolescence is a British television psychological crime drama series created by Jack Thorne and Stephen Graham and directed by Philip Bertani. It centers a 13-year-old schoolboy named Jamie Miller, who was arrested after the murder of a girl in his school. Each of its 4 episodes was shot in one consecutive take. The miniseries premiered on Netflix on March the 13th, 2025, to critical acclaim for its directing, writing, and cinematography, with special attention paid to its atmosphere and performances. Adolescence was the first streaming show to place the top of the Barb audience's weekly television ratings. And that's about it. Yeah. So I think that might be like maybe our Nielsen sort of ratings.
Oh, okay.
Because this is like a British show, which I didn't know that.
I didn't know that going in.
So yeah, that was kind of fun.
Some of the elements reminded me a lot of Black Mirror.
Ooh, yeah.
And Black Mirror just came out this week too.
So listen, it's
I know
spring.
We're spoiled for choice.
Yay.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot going on. But
Excellent.
yeah, this reminded me. Do you remember the episode? I think it was called "Shut Up and Dance." About the little boy who I think Liam Neeson was in it, and he was like trying to, like someone that called him and was like, hey, we got you on tape, doing something, whatever, and was making him do all the stuff and come to find it. Yeah.
That does kind of.
It reminds me of those vibes a little bit.
Oh my gosh, you guys. So yeah, we have a lot to get into. So before we do, you guys, let's dedicate the show like we always do. So hands over your hearts, everybody. We always have to start off with our beautiful and wonderful patrons. Thank you so much for your continued support of our show. We love you very much. If you're not a patron, what are you waiting for? We have lots of bonus content, guys. So if you're interested, pop on over to Patreon/The Fab Podcast to check out all of our content. If you're kind of interested in how that goes, we have kind of a bonus episode. Which episode? Was that 2 episodes ago? We did a Patreon exclusive on our regular episode. So it kind of gives you a little bit of what we do over there. And let's see, my actual dedication outside of my patrons is going to be to just laughter and humor. I'm finding that I'm needing lots and lots of it these days with just everything going on. Y'all know it's ghetto. I don't have to break it down. If you're over here at our show, you kind of know already. So it's just, my head is spinning like every day. And so, just dealing with all of that, I just feel like being able to find the humor and stuff and laughing, it helps. So shout out to the laughs.
Yes. My dedication is going out to men. Good men. And we know you're out there. It's a lot of solid men, but there's not enough. So, because we're going to go into the manosphere, and it can be, I know for a lot of men, when I'm saying things that are critical, they feel attacked. And if you're one of the good ones, I'm not talking about you.
Boom.
And so just keep that in mind. And so if I say something, and I probably, like,
And
I say
I'm going to.
I mean, I'm going to say how I feel, and it doesn't even mean I'm right. Like, this is just how I feel. But I just want to dedicate this to y'all because I love men. I've actually made men. I love them. I love them. So yeah, just know that. And also Amber Ruffin. Like, she got asked to step down from the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and that was really messed up. And, good for her for not even lying. I would have just lied and said, no, I ain't gonna talk about nobody. And then would have just roasted everyone.
Everybody.
And just, because it's like, hey, what you gonna do, fire me? I already did it.
Already did it.
But no, it was dedication over. Did you see SNL where she went on and did, like, she was...
Who was it?
The black lady from Saturday Night Live, Ego Wardum. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but
nice.
she did like she was like, they should let me host it. And she like did her little stand-up set. It was very, very funny. And she was doing a little callback with the audience because she was like, and these men ain't what? And the audience said, shit.
Oh,
and then she was like, she was like, Lauren gonna be mad at y'all for
like,
that.
I wasn't gonna
like,
say
that wasn't me. She was like, it was worth a damn.
Right. Oh my gosh.
It was very cute.
Excellent.
But yes, just a good example of humor getting us through the dum-dums.
Which is needed, you guys. We just
Yeah,
needed a
because
lot.
this is rough.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even want to watch it at first.
Right. I get that. It is heavy. And I will say that, because it is so heavy, you do have to tap into the stuff that makes you laugh because, even though this is a fictional show, it talks about some really real stuff. So that's kind of why I wanted to get into it, and specifically because the manosphere is a new thing. I think because of my demographic and my proximity to social media and stuff like that, this isn't something that I was really up on.
Yeah.
And the more I'm learning about it, the more fascinated I am with this phenomenon, and the more I see it reflected in our real lives. So I do think that, our imitating life is a thing and vice versa. So we're going to take you through a little bit of what this show is about. So I'm going to give you the premise, guys. So like I said, I only really tapped into that first and almost
I see you
through
saw
the
the first
pretty much
two.
through the
You
first
saw
two.
you got the meat of it.
Yeah, so I'm going to read the premise because it does kind of break down basically the first episode that I saw. So in this English town, armed police raid a family home and arrest Jamie Miller. He's a 13-year-old boy and he's suspected of murder. And this is one of his classmates, a young lady named Katie Leonard. And so Jamie is processed and held at the police station for questioning, then remanded in custody at a secure training center. Investigators at Jamie's school are interviewing investigations at Jamie's school and interviews by forensic psychologists uncovers Jamie's views towards women associated with the manosphere and bullying he has received on social media. At home, Jamie's family deals with the community backlash against them and work together to cope with Jamie's arrest and subsequent detention. And so really the first episode is really basically the whole, it comes in pretty hard with the police kind of raiding their house and it being like this super dramatic thing. And you see this shot of this young looking kid and you're like, this is the person
like a baby
for murder, so like that is crazy. And then you're watching his family kind of like process things and go through the whole situation, following him to the station. And I don't know, like for me, I couldn't help but to like instantly place myself in the situation and being like, what if this was my son? Like, what if this was happening to me?
That was why I didn't want to watch it.
Yeah.
Because that's just so upsetting.
It's very upsetting.
There's no other word for it, but I am glad I watched it.
Yeah.
Because it was, so that first episode, because I went into it knowing what was, going on, that he actually did it. Because if you didn't know, if you went into it, straight away, you would just think, okay, there's some kind of mix-up.
This is crazy. Why? You know what I mean? Why is this? And because I wasn't, I was pretty sure that, he did it before I even watched it. I kind of knew the premise of the show. But I like how they make it unfold because you don't really know what happened, and then slowly throughout the episodes, they're in spoilers, obviously, guys. I think we probably already said that, but you get a little at a time. So you're seeing it from this family's perspective, and they're like, he's 13, there's no way he did this. They're asking him, did you do this? He's saying, no, I didn't do anything. You see him in the car riding with the police.
Specifically says, I didn't do anything wrong.
I didn't do anything wrong.
Which is kind of an
That's
interesting
a little bit
distinction.
Different.
Yeah.
A little different. And yeah, it was crazy. But then also too,
But he was also saying he didn't do it.
yeah,
Like, he
both.
was
Well,
going
when his
before,
dad straight up asked him.
him.
So what I did like was that when they got him to the station, I do feel like okay, I mean, they bust in your house and do all that seems extra, but I guess that's just the protocol.
Also, and the mama lied about what the police did.
She did, and the daughter had to be like, Mom, they didn't do
all that.
That's how it felt. Yeah.
And it's like,
They were doing their job. So, but once they got to the station, you know, they were like making sure, like, they kept telling him to be quiet, like, don't speak, that's gonna work against you.
And it's also early in the morning.
Like 6 in the morning.
Yeah,
6:13
I
to
feel
be
like that
exact.
because dude, the daddy just got back home from work.
Think
he
about how
worked at
fucking tired
night.
you
Yeah,
are.
if you've ever worked a night shift, come in the morning, and then the police run up in your house with
them
guns.
things, not
and
just
you're
guns.
British, you don't even see guns like that.
Oh my God. I mean, that would just be so traumatic. And so, like, you're just instantly putting yourself, well, I was, into that family, like how my daughter would feel, how my husband would feel. He works nights. Like him coming in and then they're like trying to run up on our son. And we're like, what the hell is, like, what is going on?
It's like, stop.
And then too, when they finally took him away and he was in the back of the car and they're driving off and he's like, don't say anything. You know, we're following behind you. So they get to the station, they interrogate him, and they end up having to like strip search him. That was kind of messed up because the dad was like, oh my God, like, you don't have any inclination that your son has done anything wrong. And you're thinking like, these people are having my son spread his cheeks in front of them and he didn't even do anything. Like, think about how infuriated you would feel. You know what I'm saying? For that violation or whatever. So I was just like, oh my God, this is...
And you haven't been to sleep yet.
I haven't been to sleep.
Like, cause seriously, you just want to eat and lay down.
And maybe just lay down and eat when I get up.
Right. It's like, I'm just gonna have a
I will
nap for
forgo
dinner.
food. Yes.
For a nap
I
for
will
breakfast.
eat some sleep.
Whatever.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was particularly brutal.
It just
and
so
then,
was.
and of course, just watching it, knowing what the lead up is gonna be.
Oh my gosh.
It was, and then like showing that video, and then bringing up the fact too, because they were like, okay, we couldn't find your clothes, but you kept the shoes because they were too expensive to throw away. I'm like, damn. So it's like you, in a way, saw your Air Maxes as more valuable than human life.
Because you saved him.
You know what I mean? Like, that's wild.
Yeah, that
But
was
of course,
really
you're a child. Like,
13.
this is, of course, the permanence of death. Like, that's one of the things I'm telling myself, because in a weird way, I'm still trying to defend this little murderer.
Because you just don't want it to be true. You don't want it to be, and you understand the impact that, like, media and all this stuff has on our kids now. I mean, they write whole books. Like, we did The Anxious Generation, and we talked about the effects of, by Jonathan Haidt, where he goes in depth, you know, from a very scientific standpoint on the impact of, you know, being inundated with the imagery and with these concepts and with all of those kinds of things, and just how, I mean, these are the worst case scenarios. It doesn't mean every child that's, you know, put in front of this stuff is going to internalize it like this, but this is the worst case scenario, and it is possible.
Well, what's interesting is, as the show goes on, you get like a better view of the parents. Like,
So
we'll
let's
get to
into
there.
So
Okay.
you want to? So I mean, that was episode 1. I mean,
Well,
you
that
can
was
get into-
okay. Well,
might
no,
as
you're gonna do episode 2.
Well, you already finished episode 1, so go into 2 because I didn't
No,
even see
because
the end of it.
you didn't miss anything. There's nothing that really goes on after that.
Okay.
So you can do 2, because I'll do 3 and 4, because you haven't seen those at all.
Well, you just did 1, the end part of 1.
Oh, my bad.
So I'm like, you might, you know what I'm saying?
That's a good point.
You did.
So okay, I'll lob it up.
Yeah, lob it up.
Episode 2, we go straight into this terrible ass school that all these children go to, including the detective's son. It's so funny to me because we were watching it on Patreon and I said the hot detective and you were like, what, the man or the woman? Like, it's so funny to me. This dude did not read
hot.
attractive at all to you.
I mean, he was all right. He wasn't ugly, but hot was not. That's not a word.
He was above the standard deviation of attractiveness,
Oh, okay.
especially when he like had that little T-shirt on and stuff. I just remember thinking, I'm like, okay.
He needed a haircut.
Detective works
and
at
I would have been able to
did?
see it.
Okay.
Yeah. It was like, ooh, you're almost there, buddy.
You're so Detroit.
Sorry.
So anyway, the detective, it just so happened his son goes to the same school as Jamie and Katie. So he's going up there trying to get some more information. They're on Instagram trying to figure out like what kids knew who. And you get the general impression that this is a terrible school, like just awful. It tricks you because they're all wearing uniforms.
They got them ties on.
Yeah, I was just like, okay, this looks like Gryffindor. Let's go. No, these children are not being. I like the woman detective who's like, does it look like anybody's learned anything in there to you? And yeah, all they're
It's like a holding cell for, just.
I told my daughter, because my daughter watched it like independent of me and then wanted to watch it with me. So she watched it twice. And so she's giving her commentary as we're watching it. And she was just saying like, well, it looks like a prison. That school just looks like it's just preparing you for prison, like in a way. So it was, yeah, because all the teachers, they're not even teaching, they're just playing videos.
The one teacher wasn't even in there, remember? And they were like, oh, they were like, we didn't tell on you, because remember they walked in, there was no teacher in there, and then the teacher came in after the fact.
Oh man, I was probably talking to my daughter.
And I was like, yo, see, what?
Yeah, so it was, that was upsetting.
It was very upsetting.
And then, oh my God, one part that really broke my heart too was Katie's best friend, little black girl who was like, that was her only friend
in school.
And so she would be writing Ryan up, because Ryan was one of Jamie's friends who she just already knew. She was like, you killed my best friend, like when she was just, had him on the ground, like kicking him.
Yeah, it was like at recess. What was interesting to me was like, I don't know why all these kids have their fucking phones at school.
Oh, because they kept screaming at them, phones away, phones away.
Put them up. Make it a policy. Why can they have their fucking phones?
Either lock
put
them up. Either
put them up.
You put them in them little
They have to
Ziploc
be
baggies.
in your lockers. Even if it's just in your lockers, they can't be on you. Even if parents are like...
That's the rule at my daughter's school. And it is probably better for their brains. But also in other ways, sometimes it's better to just integrate. I had a professor who just made the phones part of the class. So he would actually ask us questions, and then we would answer it like with this little poll system and like see the results right away, like through our phones. So it was a way of like keeping the kids engaged, because he's like, y'all are on it anyway, so I'm just gonna be one of the things on your phone. Like he even took attendance through the phone. Like to me, it was a really effective class. Like I actually learned a lot. Like it was very non-traditional and stuff like that. I'm not saying that's what you should always do, but it's just an alternative.
It's
one
something.
solution.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's a problem, so we need a solution.
My God, it was just kind of like, why are y'all allowing these kids to fucking be walking
They're
around
just
with their phones like
screaming
this?
at
This
them.
is crazy, yeah.
And I've been talking to you about like how I don't like the screaming method of raising children. I think that was part of the thing with the D.L. Hughley, the comments and stuff like that, where I think as human beings, I just know me, I don't like being yelled at.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
It's not. Not to say that I don't deserve it sometimes.
Right.
No one.
I said, right. Exactly. Yeah.
Thanks for being so agreeable.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's just not the best way for me to hear things and actually resolve things.
No, I would argue most people would feel the same
and
way.
And seeing as children are people.
Yeah, they are.
Undeveloped people.
Believe it or not.
Like they need so much, and I think that anyway, like to just get through the whole episode, basically the two detectives, I forget their names. Is it in there? It was just like black man detective and white lady detective.
Yes, yep.
And it seemed like they had a good relationship.
Yeah.
And they're going through school, they're trying to get information. Finally, the black detective, his son comes up to him. He's like, dude, you're doing this so badly. Like, you don't understand what you're, he didn't know what incels were, the red pill stuff, Manosphere, Andrew Tate. He didn't know none of that stuff. And it's like, look, you need to look at the actual clues. Like, Katie was like putting him on blast for being an incel. And so,
not an actual one, but like basically saying like, incel was basically like a term for just saying like, you're just gonna be always a virgin.
Well, like
you're an unattractive man.
You
like
know,
you're a loser.
basically,
Yeah.
like that was the thing in high school. We're like,
like you're a loser.
We're just, everyone's
No
just
one
putting
likes
them
you.
down constantly. It was ugh.
And then they never really say like if, and maybe they do in the other episodes, but my thing was like, was it that he tried to talk to her and she just was like, nah.
We'll get
like
there.
you're a dork. Yeah, you know what I mean? So it was probably that. It's probably just the rejection. I'm almost always.
It's so interesting that you came to that conclusion. It's almost as if there's a human pathology that can predict behavior.
You know, I mean, I've been around long enough to have witnessed it, because it's even the same concept of like, you know, my mom in second grade having to explain to me why a boy might be pulling my hair or, you know, poking at me or doing something.
Violence means he likes you.
Right, which is really crazy when you think about it, because that's what it is. It's a really negative type of attention, and girls are socialized to. I mean, I don't know if you're supposed to be flattered. I never was. I always fucking hated that, and I was just like, well, why can't they just be regular and say it? Or just maybe take the approach of like, I'm a person, and just start chatting with me. Like, I had brothers, so it wasn't weird to me to talk to boys. I'm like, boys exist. I know they're here and this is fine, but like, you're not getting your point across like that. So it's just really interesting, the approach of being like, well, I like this person, or I like girls, I like women, I want their attention. And instead of being, giving them positive attention, I'm gonna fight them or be aggressive toward them and say, well, you have to trick them into liking you, because the red pill theory says that, only 80% of, 20% of women like 80% of men. Like, that's the whole thing that they're trying to say. And it's like, that's not even true. If you really looked around, it's like, give me a break.
Yeah.
There's plenty of women are willing to lower their standards to be with y'all most of the fucking time.
And it's, yes.
Now, when you're an adolescent, what I will say is that what ends up shifting is, like, when you're younger, women do have a little bit more social cachet in terms of, like, because we talk about the dynamic of, like, junior high. Like, when I look at my son's class, like, the girls are looking like me.
Strapped.
Strapped. I'm not suggesting I'm strapped, but I'm just saying, like, they're maturing a lot faster physically than the boys are, and sometimes even socially. So
we
there's
talked about
this
that
gap.
on Win or Lose, like with Taylor.
Yes,
and
Taylor
Ewan.
and Ewan. So there's this dynamic happening, and it probably feels like you'll never attract a girl. Like, if you're not used to talking to girls, if you're a little socially awkward, you don't feel like your time is coming, buddy. Hold out till after. I mean, even if it's after high school. I know that seems like a long time. High school's such a short period of your life. It doesn't even matter. We just talked about that. It doesn't matter. When you move into your 20s and 30s, your social cachet is gonna go up, especially if you have a job, have your natural hair, good teeth, know how to be polite, like,
or
have
just
a
know how
decent
to
job.
do things. Knowing how to do things is so
Being
attractive.
the helping guy.
And being the helping
Helping
guy.
dude,
Yeah, like
yeah.
acquire skills so that you can improve her life. And yours. Like, you're valuable enough to have a good life.
Yeah, what makes you interesting? Focus on that. Spend your, spend your time getting into stop focusing so much. That's the one thing I wish that I could, like, impress upon young people is, like, stop spending so much time looking for likes and outside validation.
Yeah.
But it's so hard because that part of your life is literally just that.
And it feeds you so quick. Like, it's the
instant.
payoff is so instant, whereas, like, developing skills takes, like,
Time.
hours and years and stuff. But anyway, the episode goes on, and finally he figures out, like, nah, Ryan's the key to this dude who got beat up by the best friend. And so he goes back in the room. He's like, Ryan, I need to talk to you. Ryan jumps out the window, and they do this insane chase scene.
Slow motion. Okay.
He in dress pants and dress shoes trying to chase after this child. He finally gets the confession. He's like, yeah, I gave Jamie the knife. He's like, get in the car. So we pretty much pick up in the next, because he doesn't really do too much after that. Because after that, though, the detective's like, I need to spend more time with my son. Because he's like, this is crazy. Yeah, this is crazy, and I can kind of see what he's going through, and I'm just assuming he's okay because he looks okay. But it's like, he's like, I just spent the afternoon here, and I'm not okay. So
That place sucked.
this place sucks. So yeah, okay. So episode 3. This is probably the best episode.
Oh my gosh,
I'm so sorry
I'm so
you didn't get to
excited.
watch
That's
it.
okay.
I'm actually going to try not to spoil too much.
Okay.
But it's I'm definitely going to watch it again. It is so worth a rewatch. It's probably one of the best moments in television this year, and it should win awards. Especially shout out to the little boy who played Jamie. I think he's 15 in real life.
Is he? Okay, he did a great job.
Incredible. So basically, he's in this detention center, and this is like the third psychiatrist or psychologist, I don't know which one it is, coming to see him. And she's like a younger woman, attractive, and she's built up a rapport with him. You can tell. So they're in this room talking, and they have this back and forth. And it's like a psychological thriller, because she's just trying to, she's just doing her job. She's trying to fill him out. And also there's a security guard that she has to deal with too, who's, if you're a woman and you've ever been in an environment and there's just a man who's just got to be in your eye line and get your attention. Yeah, So, I clocked that right away. And and we indulge them because we know, like, what the repercussions are when you...
Bitch.
Yeah.
Stinking ass bitch.
Yeah.
Or
And
you're
it's like,
being
and I'm
rude.
here to
It's
work
like,
too. So it's like, I don't need any static. So she's kind of humoring him so she can do her job. Right. And so then Jamie, come to find out, yes, your theory was correct. Your hypothesis was correct. He did make a play for Katie, and she shut him down. Because actually, Katie's nudes got leaked.
Oof.
So just a reminder, everybody, because I feel like there's no point in saying it, because I don't know that I'd be any different at this time. But like when you take naked pictures of yourself and put them on the internet, they're just...
I'm such a prude. There's just no way I'm not taking pictures of my anything and sending it to you. I don't
First
care.
off, I feel
I'm
like
not
I'm
doing it.
so nice to just get naked in person. Like
God.
that's super to me.
On film?
But to like, oh, here's
digital?
an image forever. And because but once again, that young mind can't really
Exactly.
process that or whatever. And so anyway, of course, the little boy shows everybody that she had sent it to originally. And so when he sees that she's in a weakened state, then he's like, okay, I can go in because,
The news are out here.
yeah,
So now you gotta be my
he was like, so
boyfriend.
why don't you go to the fair with me? And she was like, I'm not that desperate yet. And, just shut him down and stuff. And so in his mind, that like he kept saying, I didn't do anything wrong, because in his mind, he felt justified because
She should die.
Yeah,
She
she's
didn't
been
like me.
antagonizing me. She didn't like me. The therapist ended up asking him, like, do you have any friends who are girls? He's like, no. I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
Like that's...
But
yeah.
you say that boys and girls can't be friends.
No, I don't. Like at this age, when I was at that age, yes. At this age now, I'm just saying for me to make platonic heterosexual friends at this age, there's some hurdles.
There's some hurdles.
It's not as simple as, and it complicates things too. If they're openly trying to date and they're just like, oh yeah, this is just my friend. They're like, okay.
Oh my God, please.
Like because in real life, men, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
it's true.
it's
It
a
is true.
thing. So yeah, that episode was phenomenal
Oh, I
because
can't
towards
wait.
the end he does get aggressive with her. He's like knocking the cocoa over and
Doing
he's
too
just like, and then towards the end she's like, Jamie, this is gonna be the last time I talk to you. He's like, well, we're not gonna talk again. Don't you like me? He was like, oh.
You're looking for this valid. That's the thing. It's like, oh my gosh. It's like, how can you? It's just such a paradigm. Not paradigm. Paradox. Thank you. I knew it was very close.
It was
Thank
a para.
You. It was para something.
It was apparent.
And it was very apparent. It's like that's what I'm saying, to want something so bad, to want this.
From somebody you don't respect, ultimately.
And the thing is like, how do we bridge the gap here? Because that seems to be what it comes down to, right? Like, I feel like that's the...
Well, fortunately for you, Moni, I have all the answers.
Okay.
Here they go.
Go.
No, I'm just kidding. Episode 4.
no.
So,
Anticlimactic. Go.
episode 4, this is when we get into the parents' lives. We get to really meet his parents and stuff. And
Okay.
so it's like a year later. This is our biggest time jump.
Oh my God, a year later?
Yeah. Or actually, it's like 13 months later.
Okay.
So
A year
a
and
year
some
and a
change.
month. And so it's the dad's birthday. He's turning 50. Mama's making him breakfast. And, he's like, we're going to have a good day today. They're trying to da-da-da. He's going through his cards. He gets a card from Jamie. Jamie started drawing again. And so he drew a picture of his dad. That was part of the card and stuff. And, you can tell the dads, he's like,
Love that boy.
yeah. And he's like, but he's just, that's still a source of pain or whatever. So he goes outside and sees that, or no, the daughter comes in and she's like, have you seen the van? He's like, what are you talking about? She was like, somebody wrote something on the van. They wrote down notch.
All right, this is probably a British
Yeah,
slang
and
term
it's
for
like
asshole.
an antiquated one too. Or no, it's like pedo. Like, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so like this is part of the harassment the parents have been getting because everyone just assumes like that Jamie
Clearly,
must
you
have
guys
been
are the worst
abused
parents, yeah.
if he did something like this. And ultimately you just end up learning they're just super normal sauce. Like this guy's a plumber, stay at home. You kind of get the idea that they had maybe a lower class background because in England, class is everything. Like they have racism for sure, but class is even more of a, kind of driving force of how well you're going to do in society.
Yeah.
So
Your pedigree, if you will.
yes, very much so. But it looks like to them they've kind of come up, like they got out of the slums, they're in the suburbs now. And I got the feeling that part of maybe how Jamie got radicalized was because he had a computer in his room and he would just be up there for like long periods of time alone in his room. But they were just both talked about like, he wanted the computer, so they got it for him. And I think a part of them were just excited that they could do something for their child that they weren't able to have themselves.
Right.
And so to them, they felt like good parents. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm giving them. And then of course the daughter, they had the daughter that was older than Jamie, I think, on her way to college, and she was fantastic. You know, no issues at all. And you can actually see the mom and the daughter like trying to comfort them. Like, I was reading different comments about the show, and they were just talking about how the women are constantly sort of conditioned to comfort and, you know, be attentive to male emotions. And so when Jamie goes out into the real world and women are doing that, like, it enrages them. And so I was like, that was a really good point.
Yeah.
And so they end up going to the hardware store to, he's trying to get some stuff to clean the van off. And he ends up, one of the kids who works in the store recognizes the daddy. And he was like, oh, I know you, I've been seeing you online. And he was like, hey, I just want to let you know, I don't even believe he did all that. You know what I mean? There were all kind of little conspiracy theories about how he didn't really do it.
Even though there's a whole video of it.
Right, and the daddy's seen the video.
Yeah,
like, the mom hasn't seen
that.
the video, but the daddy has. And so it's
That
just,
scene got me too, though, because it was like literally right before he was gonna allow. So like, it was the police interrogating Jamie, his dad, who was like his parent, who was gonna represent him, and they had somebody like court appointed who was supposed to be helping, like legal counsel. And when they were like, we have pretty credible evidence, so they're showing them pictures at first, and then I feel like the council recognized that, like, oh, they're about to show something crazy, let's take a break. But right before that, Jamie's dad was like, yo, did you do this? When it was them alone, did you do this? Please tell me now. Like, I'm thinking to myself, like, my conversation to my kids is always like, I can't fucking protect you if you're lying to me. You have to tell me the truth no matter what it is. And he lies to him. He comes in, so when we get to that point where the counselor's like, let's stop right here, he was like, no. I feel like he felt this confidence that his son had just told him the truth. So he was just like, no, y'all trying to lie on my son. No, we're about to finish this out. And then here we show, that's when the whole video happened. And you literally see that, and just how, oh my gosh, just how heartbreaking it was to see his dad after they showed him that video. And he's like, dude, and Jamie's like, Dad, and he's like, man, I was like, oh my God.
Because the fact of the matter is, Jamie's still in denial.
Yeah, he hasn't accepted it.
I mean, denial is a river.
Yeah,
like, it is. Denial is so strong. I'm realizing now, not even now, like, as life goes on, I'm probably going to realize even more how strong denial is and what a coping mechanism it is.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But basically, they end up, he ends up kind of confronting, he figures out, like, the kids who spray painted his van, he, ends up, because they end up kind of taunting him and stuff, so he ends up roughing one of them up a little bit. And he's like, you don't understand this. Yeah.
Bitch.
And stuff like that. And then, like, the mom and the daughter are like, Dad, come on, please stop. And, like, trying to get him back
British
to the thing.
accent out here.
So it's really good. And so they end up driving home, and they're trying to just, like, reclaim the day, because the parents have been in therapy.
Oh.
And so they're using a lot of the therapy language and stuff like that. You can just tell they're just
trying,
regular
man.
people.
They're just trying.
And then they have this really, like, emotional conversation about before they get home and have that conversation, Jamie calls, and he has him on speakerphone, and he tell the dad happy birthday and stuff, and then he's like, yeah, I think I want to change my plea to guilty. And the dad's like, all right. And and then the mama and the daddy, they go home and they have this conversation about, what they could have done different, and, like, all this other stuff. And the dad goes, he goes into the Jamie's room, because they haven't been going in his room, they just been, and he goes in the room, and it's just heartbreaking. Yeah, it's just, and then that's pretty much it.
Oh my gosh,
that's how it ends. But it's still definitely worth watching, because I didn't do it justice.
So the 4 episodes is it? There's not going to be any more?
That's it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's probably all they could. I mean, like, you could handle, honestly, because it is just very heavy. And we talked just really quickly on the Patreon about the cinematography in terms of this sort of continuous camera where, it's like the constant movement in my mind was like, it was an interesting choice, because it almost felt like you didn't get a break. There was no cutting away from anything. Like you said, they would kind of linger on certain things.
They made you sit with it.
And you'd be like, oh my God. So it's a lot of introspection happening. And again, like that's probably why I found myself very much putting myself in these situations, because I'm like, you know, you don't get to look away from it. Like you don't get to look away from the emotion or the impact that like these scenarios would be. And another interesting thing too, because I know we kind of touched on the best friend kind of like freaking out at lunch because, you know, they're all at lunch standing around, at recess, standing around like on their phones and stuff like this. And, you know, the friend was like kind of, you know, directing her anger toward one of Jamie. What was his name? Jamie's friend or whatever? Ryan. And as soon as that started popping off, everybody's like,
yeah, world star.
You know what I mean? And just like the microscope that these kids feel like they're under. Like I already, when I look back on junior high, it's always one of the most transitional moments in your life. Like me, for instance, I was like moving from another state, parents were divorcing. You're thrust into another whole social situation with people you don't know.
You're just now navigating menstruation.
Just now navigating it. You have all these hormones. You know, of course you like who you like at that point. And you're just trying to find your place. And I think about how like all of the little petty shit that we got into in junior high when it came to who likes who doesn't like who got BO, you know, who's poor, who's got money, all of those kinds of things. If that was amplified by social media. Like we got a break from it. Like at least when you went home, you got a break.
You just watch Batman the Animated Series.
You know, or not. Or, you know, walk over to your friend's house and, you know, whatever it is you got into. But it wasn't like, you might recap with your friend or something, but it wasn't like if I go on this social media app that everybody goes on that's just such a part of our lives, I'm not going to see this continuous stream of how I'm a piece of shit or how I'm ugly.
And your friends' nudes.
Yeah, and they're like, yo. And people are adding you on stuff and, you know, stuff maybe you didn't even see you have to see. So I just think that it really does kind of lean into the conversation we were having around like, you know, people just being more mindful about the influence that social media has on our kids, how much time they actually get to spend on social media, and
keeping in mind that I think there's this sort of social myth that if you make enough money, you'll be safe. And trust me, I'm not saying don't make money. I'm just saying don't let it make you think you're safe.
Yeah,
it ain't.
Don't let it fool you.
It ain't never safe. Do you want to take a break?
And money, well, maybe at the 5-minute mark. Because I put it on 45. Oh, yeah, we do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was looking at that timer.
Oh, we do. Yes, this is a fabulous time to take a break, friend. I'm glad you mentioned it. All right, we'll be right back, you guys. All right, guys, we're back from our break. I mean, this topic, honestly,
we're going to come back to it. We're going to do it right one day.
It's something that we will continue to sort of revisit because, again, like I feel like this sort of dynamic, we see it play out in so many different facets of our lives, and it's super fascinating. I'd actually we said this last time too, like I'd love to have this conversation with some other guys too.
We need to have some
couple of men, yeah. Because it is just. I
was making a joke with my son the other day. I knocked on his door. I was like, "Hey, you're not getting sucked into the manosphere, are you?" He was like, "No." He was like, "They tried though." Because he's really into fitness. So when he was watching like the little fitness content and stuff like that, it always starts with like good workout tips and then goes into all women are whores.
It's like, and by the way.
It was just like, oh no. But yeah, I like bringing this up whenever possible. But when he was in like elementary school or junior high, I would get comments from his teachers about how respectful he was to the girls.
That's so good.
But also confusing and sad because that means the other boys weren't.
Yeah.
And so his behavior stood out, and he was just always like, I don't know, girls are people.
Yeah, I don't know. Turns out.
Just treat them like people. And
super crazy.
And that's the thing, too. Bitches love being treated like people.
Like people. Just like a regular people.
It.
Yeah, it's nice.
Love it.
Super nice.
So, But let's spin the wheel, shall we?
Well, let's rate it real quick.
Shall I
shall do the rating. You can, yeah.
I'm giving it 5 out of 5 red pills.
Oh, man. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I can't rate it. I can't wait to finish it. I'll have to follow up. Maybe I'll put the rest of our conversation.
But I feel like your
on
general
Patreon.
Impressions were positive.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. I enjoyed it. I can't wait to watch the rest of it. Another little fun fact about this series, just real quick, Netflix makes Adolescence available to all secondary schools across the UK. I thought that was a really interesting choice. And there's like a parental guide that goes along, and so they give them tools and resources. And I do feel like that this is worth being studied, this whole phenomenon, and not to not to make it into this boogeyman kind of situation, but I do think that like we have to be a little bit more upfront about these conversations and let them be in the forefront so that we're not, surprised.
We're not raising our generation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so those tools aren't going to be as, I mean, some of them will, but we need new tools.
We need new tools. So.
And also, you can't murder your way out of problems. I would say that to my kids all the time because our media is so violent. You would just think like, pew, pew, pew. No, that you can't murder your way.
More
so,
problems. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Now we can
spin the wheel. Spin it.
Okay, guys, no more books. I'm sorry, Netflix just has too much stuff. It got us in a chokehold.
She'd be the main one,
So,
too.
and plus that last book was so bad. So, I still have a little. So before I'm able to love books again, we're gonna watch Black Mirror because we've been waiting too. So if nothing else, if we don't watch all of Black Mirror, we're definitely gonna review the USS McAllister or whatever the fake Star Trek one was because they do a sequel to that.
Look at you. You shouldn't be this excited. I'm sick of it.
I'm so
sick
calm.
and tired of it.
Your body belongs to you.
Y'all go on YouTube and watch her hands. She gets
They're just like this. I'm so demure.
Demure, very mindful.
No, your body belongs to you guys, and other people's bodies belong to them, so don't murder them.
Yeah, definitely, guys. And find the things that make you laugh. Humor is it helps every time. So we'll check you guys out next week. Peace.
Before we go, we must give thanks to Urban Nerd for providing our music, and legal services were handled by Trezanae M. Atkins. If you like what you heard, please feel free to join us every Wednesday for another fake-ass book club. Cheers.
Thank you guys for listening. You can check us out at thefabpodcast.com. Please subscribe, rate, and review our podcast wherever you're listening right now. We want to hear from you. Come put it in our life. Thanks again, and until next time, peace, love, and the Fake Ass Book Club. We out.